Happening right now, it's Election Day in mid-Missouri with more than 100 races on the ballot. Good afternoon, I'm Sarah Trott.
And I'm Jim Rake. Thanks for joining us. We'll get to the election in just a minute, but first, an active shooter situation right now at the YouTube headquarters not far from San Francisco. NBC reports the shooter, a female, was shot and killed. Several hundred employees work at the YouTube headquarters. 4 victims have been taken to the hospital so far. We will have more updates as soon as they become available. Now back to the election news here in mid-Missouri. We have team coverage first. KOMU 8's Namdi Egwanwu is live at a Boone County polling site to tell us about turnout. Namdi, what do you got for us?
Voter turnout today has been at about 12%. But Boone County Clerk Hillerberg says he isn't surprised. He says in the past, April elections typically have turnout at around 12%. Here at the Boone County Government Center, only 90 people have casted a vote. One voter I talked to agreed with Berg, saying while he wanted to get his voice heard, there weren't many hot-button issues on the ballot. Hi, sir. How are you?
There's not really anything that can grip people. The tax issues are not really super interesting, and neither is voting for the hospital board of trustees or for the school board. And it's also not a great day out, so I understand why.
The Ward 2 race with incumbent Michael Trapp, who's been facing candidate Paul Love, actually has a lower voter turnout of 5 out of the 6 turnouts in which their elections are being taken. We'll have more on that later tonight on the 9 and 10. Reporting live in Columbia, Namdi Egwanwu, KOMU 8 News.
Speaking of which, the way you cast your vote could soon change.
KOMU 8's Kristen Harris is live at the Capitol to tell us why some state lawmakers say the old-fashioned way is still the best way to count votes. Kristen.
Here at the Capitol, the House voted overwhelmingly in favor of going back to paper ballots. The idea is to ban touchscreen voting, which is being used right now, voters want to. The reason for the ban, concern over hacking and integrity of computerized voting and counting. Some other states are considering similar measures. Virginia has already gone back to paper.
With electronic touchscreen devices, you can always go back and look at the coding, but voters have more confidence in a paper ballot, more confidence when there's an ability to go back and say, yes, this is the piece of paper that a voter marked.
I think, though, the main concern as someone who studies local elections is who's going to pay for the paper ballots.
I spoke to 2 representatives who were against the bill. They were concerned about counties losing money because they've already invested in the machines, and that electronic voting saves money in each election. This bill would still allow machines to be used for counting votes and for voters with disabilities. Live at the Capitol, Kristen Harris, KOMU 8 News.
The polls close at 7 tonight. We'll have full coverage of the election tonight at 9 and 10, and you can find updated results on all of the races on our website at KOMU.com.
The Highway Patrol is investigating a fatal crash on Highway 63 near Freeburg at this hour. Our reporter on the scene took this photo and is trying to confirm more information. At this point, all we know from the Marys County Sheriff's Facebook page is there's a multi-vehicle fatal crash in Osage County. Drivers are asked to avoid the area. It has been nearly a year since 31-year-old Carl DeBrody was found wrapped in plastic and encased in concrete in a Fulton storage unit. There's new information today as the case moves through federal court. KOMU 8's Kyrian Lee is here in the studio with the latest details.
These court documents right here list nearly a dozen defendants who have filed for dismissal in the wrongful death lawsuit of 31-year-old Carl DeBrody. In the documents, defendants deny several allegations leading to DeBrody's death. DeBrody's mother, Carolyn Summers, filed a lawsuit against 23 people and departments. DeBrody was found last April encased in concrete in a Fulton storage unit after being reported missing from a Second Chance Homes, a supported living facility. In a statement from attorneys for Callaway County Public Administrator's Office says, quote, most importantly, plaintiffs do not know how or why Carl died, when he died, how he died, or who was responsible for his death or the disposal of his remains. Summers attorney Rudolph Viet says the next steps is narrowing down those who are responsible.
Our job is to try to find out what happened, held those responsible, and use this as evidence to their superiors that they need to watch over their employees better and make sure that the state employees who are being paid for and set in places to protect these type of individuals do their job.
An arrest still has yet to be made in the case. Second Chance Homes has until Friday to respond to the case. In the studio, Kyrion Lee, KOMU 8 News.
A London lawyer is the first person sentenced in Special Counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation. Alex van der Zwaan was sentenced to 30 days in jail after admitting he lied to Mueller's team in November. It happened during an interview about his phone calls and emails with a former Trump campaign aide. He is the son-in-law of a Russian millionaire. He is not accused of working with the president himself. Today, the president says he's planning to use the U.S. military to guard the Mexican border until his border wall is finished. He made the announcement during a lunch with visiting Baltic leaders. He says current immigration laws are pathetic and weak. He adds President Obama was not tough enough on illegal immigrants. This is the first time the military will be deployed to the border since 2010. That's when Obama sent 1,200 troops and asked for $500 million in additional border spending.
17 states are suing the Trump administration over its decision to include a citizenship question on the 2020 U.S. Census. The states represented in it include Massachusetts, New York, and Pennsylvania. Missouri is not one of them. The suit says the census is required to count all residents in the country, and the citizenship question will discourage many immigrants from responding.
This is a brazen attempt by the Trump administration to cheat on the census, to undermine the accuracy of the census, and to attack states that have large immigrant populations.
The Trump administration has not yet responded to the lawsuit.
The president also discussed the fragile relationship with Russia and President Vladimir Putin. He says he's been tougher on Russia than anyone else, pointing to U.S. oil and gas exports as evidence. His comments come during rising tensions with Russia in recent weeks, including expulsions of diplomats from both countries. The president says he will soon find if Putin is a friend or foe.
Ideally, we want to be able to get along with Russia. Getting along with Russia is a good thing, not a bad thing. Now, maybe we will, and maybe we won't. And probably nobody's been tougher to Russia than Donald Trump.
The Kremlin says Putin was invited by Trump to the White House earlier this week.
We didn't see the sun in mid-Missouri today. Let's send it over to Tim to see if it'll warm up anytime soon. Tim?
Yeah, it's been a cold and rainy and even windy election day for us. A big cold front moved through the state. Our 11 o'clock temperature was around 60 degrees. Our 12 o'clock temperature was around 40 degrees, and that continues to spawn off some severe weather off to our south and east. No severe storms for us here in central Missouri, but it's a 4 out of 5 on that Storm Prediction Center scale for parts of the Ohio River Valley. There's already been a couple of tornado reports so far this afternoon, and lots of hail reports, too. As big as 2-inch reports in parts of southeastern Missouri. It's all because of some of the colder air that's been over a part of central Missouri the last couple of days. It's now returned to central Missouri. It's 41 right now in Columbia. It's 42 in Jefferson City. Wind continues to be a big factor for the rest of this evening and tonight. Could see some gusts up near about 35 miles per hour tonight through tomorrow morning. So it's a chilly evening, breezy. 39 will be that 7 o'clock temperature, 37 at 9, and down into the lower 30s near freezing by the 11 o'clock hour. Unfortunately, we're back into the 20s tonight and for tomorrow morning. So it's a cold start for Wednesday. Coming up, we'll have a look at the rest of this week's forecast and tell you what Friday could look like coming up here in just a couple of minutes.
Violent attacks filmed on Facebook Live, what it means for the app's future.
Plus, body cameras or not, how Missouri police departments vary the usage.
And you're taking a live look over Columbia. This is KOMU 8 News, first at 5, coverage you can count on.
All right, welcome back. You're looking live over Jefferson City, where we almost got up to 60 degrees before the lunch hour, and now everybody's in the 40s, even some 30-degree temperatures outside. It is not too pleasant right now with as windy as that gusty breeze is out from the west-northwest, and those temperatures now back into the upper 30s and low 40s. The wind chill, it's down near 31 right now. It feels like it's below freezing outside. Could have some gusts up near the 30 to 35 mile per hour range here for the rest of this evening. Temperatures as a whole in mid-Missouri At the 5 o'clock hour, it's 42 in Columbia, or in Jefferson City, 41 in Columbia, 42 at the lake. You reached 70 degrees down over parts of southern Missouri earlier this afternoon. It was comfortable for a couple of hours. Yes, it was. Felt like spring. But unfortunately, that gusty northwest wind continues to pull in some colder air for tonight and tomorrow. Look at some of the cold air that's up over the Midwest and northern plains at this time. That's headed our way. And unfortunately, it's not going anywhere just yet. We may be in the 50s again on Thursday. We're back into the 30s and 40s again for this upcoming weekend. It looks like they're a pattern by then. Satellite and radar is a complicated picture. This is classic spring. Big, strong cold front moving through the Midwest. Tornado watches all the way through Arkansas into the Ohio River Valley. Multiple tornado reports. Currently, there are tornado warnings down near Pilot Grove and in the boot heel of Missouri. We'll watch our friends down to the south and east as these storms continue to exit Missouri. Precipcast has just partly cloudy skies for the rest of this evening and tonight, but it'll be breezy tomorrow morning. Mostly clear and therefore mostly sunny. We'll enjoy some sunshine for Wednesday. Temperatures tomorrow morning down near about 25 degrees. It's going to be a very unseasonably cold start. A normal temperature this time of the year for a morning should be around almost 40. So we're very cold for tomorrow, almost 15 degrees cooler than normal. However, we should get up to about 43 in the afternoon. Then Thursday night and Friday comes around. Another cold front will move through the state. And unfortunately, that winter precipitation is just not done yet. Right now, computer models are trying to hint on, by Friday evening, some areas of light snow developing once again in central and western Missouri. We'll have to watch those road temperatures carefully. I think roads will be okay right now, but as we saw on Sunday, could have some slushy roads in central Missouri to close out this work week. Tonight's forecast, it's a cold one. Breezy outside, 25 the overnight low temperature. Wind chills down near 15 in a few spots. That's as cold as some of those breezes could be by tomorrow morning. It starts to relax for tomorrow. Sunshine returns. We'll put the exclamation point on it. 43 in the afternoon. It'll be a chilly day, though. Some of the wind chills still remaining in the 30s. Forecast through the rest of this week and into the weekend looks like this. 43 tomorrow, 57 on Thursday. Flurries in the forecast for Friday. It'll be a breezy end to this week. And, yeah, unfortunately, still cold into this upcoming weekend. Temperatures 39 on Saturday, 50 with another chance for rain on Sunday.
Thanks, Tim. What social media experts are saying about a rise in violence being broadcast on Facebook. A Houston man was shot in the head during Facebook live stream on Sunday. One local social media user says things like these are becoming too common, and a social media strategist agrees that it's on users to keep this kind of content from being overshared. KOMU 8's Dallas Parker is in the studio to tell us what it means for the future of social media.
Video footage of Devin Holmes being shot in the head from close range is virally circulated multiple social media platforms. Some social media users worry these videos are becoming a little too normal. The videos you're about to see are disturbing, so we are not going to show you the shootings in their entirety.
Gonna pull up. Line. You see we doing the line? We draw down. You making me nervous. We draw down on. Ain't got no clip, bud. Hey, where you from again?
Right after this point, the woman in the video pulls the trigger, shooting Devin Holmes in the head. A few months ago, a man was murdered on his way home during a live stream. And Philando Castile's murder was also captured on a live stream. Videos like these are becoming more common on social media, and one local woman says people are becoming numb to it.
I feel like it's because there's so many of them. It's so many events, it's so many shootings or killings and various forms that it's almost to the point that it doesn't matter what happened in the video when you hear that there's a gun involved. It's sad that we feel like we're used to it.
A digital strategist says it's up to the users to be responsible on these platforms.
Take a step back before you post. I know we're kind of in an era where everyone is into oversharing their lives. And I think that, we really need to take a step back and look and see how that's affecting others.
Currently, Facebook does not restrict graphic content from being posted unless violence is being glorified, celebrated, or posted for sadistic pleasure. But Facebook's community standards does require people to warn users about potentially graphic content. According to KPRC in Houston, Devin Holmes did not die and is on life support. But Donahue says users must have better judgment before they hit share or retweet. In the studio, Dallas Parker, KOMU 8 News.
Columbia Police released a 284-page report why an officer was not wearing his body cam during an officer-involved shooting. The department says it was part of the SWAT team's active shooter procedural response. But how do Missouri police departments compare when it comes to using those cameras? St. Louis, Kansas City, Jefferson City, and Springfield aren't using body cameras in day-to-day operations at all. But for police departments like Columbia and Fulton, they're used much more frequently. When asked for comment about the SWAT team procedures, Columbia Police declined.
Who decides whether a new transmission line running from Kansas to Missouri can be built? That's what the Missouri Supreme Court is deciding. What happened in court today? Next.
On this busy Tuesday, we will, of course, bring you the very latest breaking developments out of California, that apparent shooting at YouTube headquarters. Also, we'll tell you about the president amping up his crackdown on illegal immigration. We see you tonight for Nightly News.
Missouri's highest court heard arguments circling a project that would bring wind energy and high-voltage power lines through Missouri. KOMU 8's Lydia Nussbaum is here in the studio to tell us what controversy the Missouri Supreme Court heard today.
Last year, a commission denied the Grain Belt project permission to continue, saying it needed approval from the counties the project would cut through. The commission based its decision off of an unrelated Court of Appeals case in the Western District, but this decision conflicts with the Eastern District Court of Appeals opinion, which says the project does not need permission from counties. And this dispute has led the Missouri Supreme Court to decide in the matter. Controversy is centered around a transmission line that would stretch from Kansas to customers in Missouri and neighboring states. A company called Clean Line Energy Partners has been advocating for the project to create the Grain Belt Express Clean Line.
For our state, this would bring not only clean, renewable wind power to tens of thousands of Missourians, but also generate millions of dollars in savings on energy bills.
But the Missouri Public Service Commission has denied the continuation of this project. The Missouri Supreme Court heard arguments today to decide if local governments need to approve the project. The controversial project would put lines through private properties, cutting through many Missouri farms. Opponents to the power line argue the company should have franchise certificates, which means it would need approval from individual counties.
When a county commission says, okay, we grant you the right to string your line, your high voltage transmission line across, under, or over through the entire breadth of our county, that amounts to a franchise.
The company says the Grain Belt Express could bring renewable power and enough clean energy for 1.6 million homes each year. The court has not said when it would issue a ruling. In the studio, Lydia Nussbaum at KOMU 8 News.
We'll have one more check on your forecast coming up. KOMU 8 News will be right back. It's Election Day in mid-Missouri with around 100 issues on the ballot. KOMU 8's Namandi Egwanwu is live at the Boone County Government Center with updates from the polls. Namandi.
I'm at the Boone County Government Center where more than 200 people have voted, but more than 5,000 are registered. Well, overall voter turnout today is at about 12%, which is low but expected. I talked to the Boone County clerk who told me that April elections typically have low voter turnout due to having less hot-button issues. One of the top issues today, a seat on the city council. We'll have more on that tonight on the 9 and 10. Reporting live in Columbia, Namdi Egwanwu, KOMU 8 News.
Now here's a look at what we're following for the 6th. Federal authorities announced today one of the designers of a massive Kansas water park slide that decapitated a 10-year-old boy was arrested in Texas.
More on the arrest and the charges coming up at 6 o'clock. Tim.
Temperatures just get colder and colder, don't they? We're going to be back in the 30s for this evening. That's where we're trending right now. Down to 25 degrees tomorrow morning. It's going to be a very cold start, and keep in mind, this is nowhere near where we should be at for this time of the year. Only a high of 43 tomorrow, but the sun shines back out around the 50s again for Saturday or for Thursday, Friday and Saturday. Colder again, unfortunately. Temperatures going to be back in the 30s for Thursday and Friday.
His popularity isn't exactly at his peak right now.
That's the best you have for us. Come on.
On air, online.